Hello there, welcome back to Simon's Shed. It's time for another Severn Valley Railway layout update. So coming up on this episode, bulk delivery, toasty installation, plan update, and frame making. So yes, I've had a visit from a large lorry with lots of supplies for the shed. Which means I finally got around to finishing the installation, and I've also had some wood delivered to start building the frames for the layout. So let's crack on and I'll show you what I've been doing. So here's half of the supplies that came in, and that is obviously the Celotex insulation boards, and they're 2.4 metres, is quite a lot bigger than I imagined. And the other part of the bulk order was this wood for the frames to go underneath the baseboards. Did not order it this long. They sent nearly 5 metre lengths for the same price as the 4 metre lengths I ordered, so I'm not complaining, but yeah, I'll have to get that cut up soon so it doesn't bend in the middle. I can barely fit it into the shed. So that's the delivery. Right, I just thought I'd get a quick shot as I've just this second finished the last Celotex insulation board, and thought I'd record the chaos that the shed is in so that it looks good on me when it's all tidy. So yeah, it's all done now. A few tiny little edges to slice off with a sharp knife maybe, but yeah, happy with that. So I've also chopped up the bits for the frame just so they'll lay flat. So that's going to go, those are going to go along the back wall. So I just left them a little bit long for now, but they're basically the right size to go along here. And I've got all the wood flat in the shed now, and the insulation is done. Okay, I've had a sort out and I've started building the frames. So the idea is that underneath everything I'm going to build frames to put the scenery and boards on like this. I'll show you in a bit more detail in a sec, but this will go in a U shape around along here and up here, and I'm using this, I just found it under carcassing timber. I used building supplies online to order it because I ordered really long lengths and they wouldn't fit in my cart. So I think it's 3x2 basically, which is about 45 by 65 mil. And it's nice and easy to work with, nice smooth edges. So right, let me just show you what I'm doing. So first of all, 3mm wood drill. This is very simple, but just for completeness I thought I'd show you how I'm actually doing it. So line this up. And I'm simply drilling that screwdriver. A couple of holes with the 3mm drill, and then with an 8mm drill. Again, wood drill obviously. I'm just setting the screws in a little bit, just so they don't stick out. Oops, that's too far. That's okay. So a very simple joint. Got these, what, 4x75mm which is 8, so they're 3-inch screws, and they're dacrytized, which I think means they don't rust, but shouldn't really need that for in here, but that's what was available. So very simply just screwing the joints together like that. Got it. So just a simple butt joint, and as you can see I've got quite far. All this is screwed together, and it's starting to get, well, it was getting awkward because now it's all connected together from there round to there, round to there. This is all screwed together. Ignore this bit underneath, that's just loose, there's spare bits of wood for now. I'm getting to the stage where obviously joints like this are screwed from behind, so I did these first, and it gets more and more awkward when you get to here. You have to lift the whole thing up, and I think I've now got to the stage where it's actually impossible. For this one, for example, isn't done yet, and the same at the other end, but because of the size of it and the fact that it's now all connected together, I've got no way of getting behind there to screw it in, so I'm just going to have to cut off a little block of wood, I think, and then screw it that way, and screw it that way as well, and that should do it. Apologies for the shaky camera. So I'll get that done, and then I'll start sort of propping the whole thing up to get the right height, I think, is the next stage. Right, just a brief interlude to look at the plan before we get back into the shed. What's changed here, I've basically tidied things up, linked all the track together properly because it wasn't all connected in all places, and that's allowed me to set the correct gradients and things. I think we can see, if we go view in 3D, yeah, so that gives you an idea where you've got the top scenic level, and then you've got the helix down, and then it gradually goes back up until it gets over into this corner, and it's the same height again. And you can see, I think you can just about see the lower level fiddle yard over here. Not that easy to see. That's a bit better. So yeah, having linked all the track together, it allows me to sort of do that and get an idea of the different track heights, which is good. Close. I've also added in some more detail, mainly from sort of here downwards in the sort of more countryside-y Severn Valley bit. So just refining. This is the safari park, and I've added sort of more forest areas where there actually are forest areas with the green blobs. I'm toying with this bit here. I don't know if you can see the mouse pointer. This bit here being part of the safari park, which is like the sort of fairgroundy bit, but That might change because I'm not sure whether sort of, there are N-gauge fairground rides, but whether it would look out of place with sort of flashing lights and fairground bits stuck in there, so I might leave that out. So the track layout hasn't changed, I don't think. It's just a case of I've added some more details and I've moved the river so that instead of going along here very close to the station at Arley, it actually now goes off into nothingness a bit sooner, because this road here, when I actually measured it, was just very, very silly. It was just very small and didn't make any sense. So I've rearranged that a bit to be a bit more like how it is in reality. Again, with this line of bushes is how it is in reality, and I'm going to try and hide the exit, hide the fact that that road just disappears on the layout behind these trees. So yeah, just adding in more details and tweaking things, and making sure the measurements, like this is the shed door, making sure that's correct. So that's what's been changed and added. The frames you're seeing in the shed, the wooden frames, what I'm going to try and do is more of an open baseboard type setup for this one. I've got this idea in my head that I'll be able to bring sections of scenery into the house and work on them in here. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work yet, but that's the idea. And then that each piece of scenery will then be screwed back onto the baseboard frames that you're seeing in the shed. So there won't be a flat board across the whole thing like with Boddenham Woods. It'll be left largely open, but with the thin bits of wood just supporting the track initially. That is the theory. I've never built a layout like that, so that's a bit of a learning process for me. So yeah, I'll obviously show you how that goes when I start laying the track and putting scenery down. Now with this rail modeler on the Mac, there is a way. Here we go, in show parts list. I had a bit of a shock when I saw this. You can put in the prices for different elements. It seems to have lost. I did update the prices because these are far too cheap, even for somewhere like Hatton's online, but it seems to have lost all of my updates, but never mind. So yeah, it tells you like it's got the total price of just, you know, for the track and the points of like 328 quid, it says there. Now when I did it and put the proper prices in, it was more like 450, so I had a little bit of a shock at that. And obviously that's one of the downsides of building, you know, a big sort of dream layout like this compared to a little first attempt like Boddenham Woods, is it's just an order of magnitude more expensive. So but I'm not going to compromise. If I have to wait and wait a bit to buy the track, then I have to wait a little bit. But it has highlighted the fact that some of these points aren't, you know, the Pico code 55 track. So I need to go around all the points and make sure I've used the large radius points where I can, because I want to try and use, if at all possible, I want to use all large radius points. Just to make it smoother, and I need to change this track, this modern track across the top will be concrete sleepers. So if I change that to the concrete sleeper track, I can get it to tell me how many lengths I need to buy. So it's quite a useful feature, but yeah, gave me a shock at the price. But as I say, the track hasn't really changed, so that's good. It means I'm sort of on the right lines, no pun intended, with the with that. So I can be fairly confident in the fact that these frames I've built are going to be the right size. So obviously the shape of this is a little bit different, so the frames will sort of go straight across from there, and then the board stuck on top, or building foam or chicken wire and plaster cloth, however I decide to do it, won't exactly hit the edge of these frames that you're seeing in the shed. It will overlap in some places, and I might curve it. I might do it exactly like it is there in the plan with different angles, but there's a little update on the plan. So let's get back to the shed. Okay, I've now propped it up very temporarily, and I'm just sort of I've taken this piece off because it was just too awkward to get it all raised up to the right height, which is what I'm trying to set at the moment. So I think I'm going to go for this, try and get that fixed in there, and then go and grab a level and then go around the rest of the points, making sure it's level and fixing it to the shed all the way around. So I've gone for let me try and show you. It looks quite low, but that will be the very bottom layer. The actual scenic layer will be 10 centimeters or so above that. So I reckon that's about right. Still plenty of room to actually get underneath and work on it. So yeah, we've got over 2 foot, so we should be able to get under there. So I'll get that fixed in, and it should really strengthen up the shed with this bar all the way around the whole edge of it. And there we have it. It is now fixed to the wall, and I've put the this bar back on. The interesting thing is the height from the floor here is about 26 inches. As you saw, it's definitely level. The height from the floor right in that corner is 28 inches. So yeah, it's a lot lower to the floor over this bit, but that's just because the whole shed is sloping down a hill. I didn't build the shed, so that's my excuse. The bit I did build is definitely level, so the trains will be fine running on here. That's the main thing. And I guess they didn't build it, whoever built it didn't build it in mind of you know, running model trains within it. So yeah, it's all secured to these beams in the shed all the way around. I need to cut this off somewhere, I'm not sure exactly where yet, but that's why I've left it. It'll go at an angle like that and join onto there. So I'll do that when I know for definite. But yeah, it's really starting to look like the beginnings of a layout now. Need to get rid of some junk in the shed. And the other thing I've done is put a couple of legs just to support that bit, and one there and one over there, and I've put in the bar in between that bit. So really, we're ready to start laying track. So there we are, job done, layout finished. I couldn't resist putting a bit of track down and having a little run. Unfortunately I ran out of rail joiners. I was going to go all the way around the edge, but yeah, I ran out of rail joiners and it was taking so long to lay the track for a very temporary setup that I just did one side of the shed in the end. But it's already good. I'm already pleased with it, because the length of the run down the side here is really lets you put a long rake of coaches on, and should allow me to hopefully get a nice landscape that I can sit the trains in. So that's about all for this time. Frame's pretty much done, and the next step is to start laying the track, as I said. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.